step, step. Step, 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 step. Raccoon. It's another beautiful day. We're gonna try to beat the heat this morning. I'm gonna work my way along this river bottom right here on this transition. I'm gonna look for some feeding areas, basically in between the bedding. I got a bunch of rabbits that keep running across the trail in front of me here. But yeah, so let's get into it. We had a lot of rain the past few days, so this little creek is flowing pretty good. It does show up. You can see there's some younger planted pines, and there's some older standing hardwoods right there. So we're gonna work our way in between these and see what we could find. Hopefully not get too wet. Hey, it's me again. I just came to this trail behind me. I clipped it a little bit because it's right here on the edge of all of this younger planted pine that's like 10-15 feet tall. And then there's some of these oaks over here, and there's water on the other side, so it's kind of like a little barrier that they have to funnel through. So I just walked it, but I didn't see a lot of sign. But it's definitely a trail, so we'll see if there's anything deeper back the more I go here. But I'm gonna guess no, just based off what I've seen now. So I will update you if I find anything. I thought I'd share this with you guys, but it's like, if you're familiar with planted pines like this, they're about 15-20 feet tall. And they're very, very thick, too thick to walk through. But I just found this little trail. Look at that cut. It's smaller than me, but it's big enough for deer. It's kind of crazy. I'll show you just how wide it is, but it just goes to show that just because this stuff is thick, they make little trails through it. I'll just put my shoe sideways in it. You can see just about how wide it is. Probably for just a little doe group to walk through, but there you go, they're in there. Then you can tell you just can't, nothing's walking through it, but they cut little trails. All right, as you can see, I am now at a power line. I just walked about a mile or so, a little over a mile from the truck, basically back that way. And there was a lot of water I had to cross, which wasn't fun. But other than that, I think we're going to work our way up and down this power line. I'm gonna go north here, check down closer to the water. Then I guess I'll work my way south and see if there's anything other than these 20-foot pine trees. I'm gonna guess there's not just by looking at the maps, but we'll see. All right, so I worked my way into some of these bigger oaks here out of all the pines, and I found a little stream here. It's mostly running north-south. It's actually flowing to the north. Behind me is a lake, so I'm gonna kind of follow it here through all these oaks. I'm lower, it goes up in elevation the more I go that way to my east. So I'm probably gonna fall to this ridge and see if there's anything down here closer to the water. A lot of times on these public game lands, these deer stick a lot closer to the water, I've noticed, just based off the sign and other videos I've watched because of the pressure. So we're gonna go walk down there and see if we find anything. Good stuff. A red-tailed hawk. The mosquitoes are super aggressive in here, but I was walking and I found a little friend. All right, so those of you who live in the southeast know that we just had a hurricane. Obviously, it's still a little early for acorns to be falling, but because of that hurricane that blew through, you know, it's knocking all these acorns off the ground. There's a good amount down here that aren't chewed up by squirrels. They just got blown down. You can tell that one, it's got a little notch in it. So that one was eaten, maybe by a squirrel in the tree, but obviously that one wasn't. There's a bunch more on the ground here. I'm actually right here. See if I can get it. That right there is a bit of a creek bed in between two pretty low elevation ridges. It runs up that way, uphill, that way's downhill. There's the water. So basically I'm walking through this patch of oaks, just looking for some feed trees, some sign. Not finding much, but that could just be because I'm not in the right spot yet. So I gotta find the right trees, apparently. So I'm gonna keep walking around here. It's gonna pick up in elevation more as I go this way, working my way east. And I'm just gonna look for where some more of these acorns are and hopefully find some sign with it. I'm hoping to find some poop, because that means that they spend an extended amount of time there. So that would be a good spot to see if you can kill them. All right, everybody, I just crossed through here, just kind of following these ridges as they drop down into all these little creeks, all the little fingers. I just crossed over and I found some sign here. Looks like they've been eating all these oaks if they dropped some young acorns before they were supposed to. I'm gonna keep working my way along here. You can see how close I am to the water. And then over here to my right, which is my kind of east, it's all really, really, really thick. So I'm not obviously gonna be able to walk through it. So I'm gonna kind of continue to work my way around this thick stuff. It curves over here to the right, and see if I can find some more of that. I'm on this little peninsula. You can see the water on both sides here. It's only about maybe 200 feet wide. But back to what I was talking about earlier with these storms. When those fronts come in and they shake the trees and all that food comes down, give something for these deer to eat. So it's always good to get out, especially pre-season when you're scouting. There's a boat. Like I was saying, it's good to get out pre-season when you're scouting, especially if there's a storm, just because it gives you the opportunity to find where those trees might be that are holding acorns this year, if they're going to be dropping or not. Because otherwise you just kind of have to wander around, look up with some binos or a rangefinder and see if you could see them. But it's a little bit easier. So then you can just keep walking, looking on the ground, mark it, and move on. All right, I'm back. I'm heading back to the way I came in, but I'm going past one of the first spots I found. I'm trying to find a tree that I'd like to shoot out of. I'm kind of standing where the trail's at now. It comes from over there. You can see it cuts through there. It rains a lot, or it has rained a lot the past few days. So this is pretty flooded out, but they could also just go over there and walk around it and then come back to me. And then they're going to continue over that way along the edge of this ridge, and it keeps going around. So I'm looking for one of these trees right here, and I'm thinking it's going to end up being that one, just because the other ones are either dead. There's one back there that I wanted, but it's dead. There's not a lot of shooting lanes just because of the canopy above me on some of these other ones, or they're too small. But I think that one that I pointed at, that one right there, will give me kind of a couple good angles here as they come east-west on this trail, and I'll be sitting on the south side of it. So north wind, I'll be good to go. And then everything that's behind me is really thick, and then there's the logging road back there. So I don't think they're going to be coming from that way, and that logging road's about 100 yards back or so. So I don't know, maybe that's good, maybe that's bad. If they're on it, they can probably smell me then, depending on the wind. But I think I'll be good. I was just going to range this area real quick and kind of see if that tree's going to work out. But I think that I'm going to mark that on Onyx as the tree for this spot if I come here. All right, I'm back out at the power lines. It's kind of main access to all these little areas. I'm going to go up here north real quick. I did say I was going to go there earlier and to take a shortcut, and I went behind me east. There's a big old block of oaks that I just came out of, obviously. And then there's some younger planted pine up on a side of a ridge. And it's a nice little area where there's a bunch of different kind of vegetation, a bunch of different edges, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. So I went and checked it out. That's where I found all the stuff. So I'm gonna head on down here. Nice easy walk down there to where basically it ends. And then I'm probably gonna head back that way and get out of here because it's starting to get hot and I had to walk through water like ankle deep. So my feet are wet. and I'm bougie and I don't want to deal with it anymore. So yep, I'll let you know if I find something. I found a pretty little waterfall. I'm trying to work my way up in this archery only zone. All this rain in the past few weeks or past few days. But I'm gonna work my way that way, south of me right now. The highway's in front of me, behind you, north. And I'm gonna go work my way up that next ridge line and see what's shaking. All right, so I'm working my way up this side of this ridge. I got the water behind me and the highway behind me as well, as you could hear. But I'm finding this nice rub line, so I'm gonna follow it. Hope when I get up here to the ridge that's behind you, in front of me, sorry, mosquito, I'll find something interesting, but I'll point out these rubs. So there's one right there. Yeah, sorry, I heard something breaking limbs. And this trail seems to kind of run down here. And I'll try to zoom in. You can see that kid's toy? It's on one of the trees to the left. We can't see it from here. But yeah, we'll keep following it and see if we find anything. Hopefully we run into something, because I haven't seen any animals today besides rabbits. All right, I made it back into this archery area. Up over the ridge, I had to cut my own trail. There's no way to get through it. So I cut a trail and I got up here. I hit that power line and I started walking south onto this trail. And I took about 20 steps and I just busted a deer. Not more than 10 yards into the trees right here. I stood up and looked at me, took off. Assuming it was a doe. I didn't see any antlers, so it could have been a little baby buck, but I could see it right through this hole behind me in the tree. Just stood up and took off. So that's the first deer I've seen today. Thankfully, I finally saw something besides footprints. So I'm probably gonna keep walking down this trail a little bit behind me, back this way. As you can see, it's pretty overgrown. There's no way to access this really at all, other than to cut a trail from the side of the road where I came in. So I'm gonna assume a lot of people don't come back here. All right, I about walked to the end of this archery zone using these roads along the power lines here. As you can see, there's a bit of a swamp behind me. I'm gonna come up here and curve around. I'm heading south. I'm about to hit the end of it. So I'm going to curve back up west, head back up to the road. It's a longer walk out, but it's gonna be a lot easier than cutting through a bunch of crap, and hopefully walking a different way I see something else. And if I do, I will let you know. All right, everyone, after busting that deer, I kept working my way down that trail, kind of circling that area. I didn't find anything else. So I'm putting some boots to ground. I'm getting out of here, taking a bit of a longer way, but I'm not trying to break back through brush. I'd rather walk a little bit more distance if it's easier walking, just because it's hot and I just want to get it over with. But if nothing changes, I'll see you at the truck. This is about 100 feet from that tree I just stopped at. All right, I am back at the truck after walking out of there. It's starting to get real hot, so I'm gonna call it a day at that. Make sure there's no bugs crawling on me. I mean, I'm new to this area, so I don't really know exactly what I'm looking for all the time. But I mean, I'm finding sign in this kind of block of woods. This is the most north portion of where I was last week in my previous video. Excuse me. So that being said, I mean, I guess I'm just gonna keep walking around and seeing what I can find. Got about a month before archery season opens, so I can get out and get after that. But until then, I'll probably come out here one more time. I got a couple spots picked out now. It's just accessing them is very limited based on where I'm coming in from, because there's not a lot of places. Where I'm parked now is one of the two, and depending on the wind, trying to get into these spots, it's gonna be really tricky, because most of the stuff you can't walk through. You really gotta walk on the old logging roads or the fire breaks to get to it. So I'll probably have to do a little bit more planning that way. I think once I come into these spots and hunt them, they'll probably be blown out for a while after, so I won't be able to hit these spots hard consistently. So I'll probably be able to come in here maybe once or twice during archery season, and then kind of change up the game plan as far as gun season. Get out here in the open where I can see that they're moving. They're probably just moving at night, but at least I can get a shot on them out here. And I can get a shot on them in the trees too, but it'd be easier. But other than that, thanks for watching. Stick around for more. I should be picking up the volume of videos as we get closer in the season, so hang around.